Hi everyone. I am today making a patriotic wreath, and I'm doing it with mesh and ruffle style. So I figured I'll just do the a quick tutorial. Maybe this won't take so long. The my customer that ordered it ordered one that I had in my store, and I should have deactivated it for a while because I don't have the sign that goes with it. um, but I tried to recreate it, so I painted this out. I'll finish it up, add some stars, and use my Cricut to put God Bless America in here, and probably tidy up some of this. But it was sort of I'll try to put a picture of it, what I tried to recreate in here. But it was kind of kind of rustic like sign, some stars, and then it just had God Bless America on it. So I started painting it already. I'll finish that up. But what you're gonna need, so since I'm doing a patriotic wreath, I have red, white, and blue, and I have a ribbon, different ribbon, of course, pipe cleaners, and I'm using some red ones that I have. I think I have 3 different ribbons, so we'll use that. And uh, I cut these with my wood burner. I'll put the link to the video if you needed to know how in the description. I have a wreath ring from, this is from the Dollar Tree, I believe. Um, I have that. So let's get started. Um, so I already cut these out. So this is the red and white. And I'm just gonna go around it. I did cut my mesh this time, so these are 12-inch mesh, 12-inch. um, and I cut this is about 21 inches. So when you do the ruffles, you wanna go a little longer just so that the ruffle can ruffle upright. So if you see that. So we'll just start and let's get started. So I lay it, sorry. I just lay my mesh down flat, and I usually lay it doesn't really matter if you flip it up or you flip it down. You will see the way that it curls, and you could decide which side you want. This is probably towards the end of the roll. So of course, I'm gonna have all this rolling going. See if I can get it to stay down. So again, 21 inches long, but this is a 12-inch. And I lay it straight in front of me. And my goal is to take it and scrunch it right in the middle because we want it to be even on both sides. So I just take and scrunch, but I'm making sure I stay in the middle. I sometimes do a little curl of my hand to make sure. And because this one is curling so much, seems like it's hard. Hopefully you can see it. But again, I'm standing in the middle. I'm just scrunching straight up the middle until I get to the end. Straighten this out some for you. Trying to stay in the middle as much as possible so that it can be straight. So you have this when you're finished. So like I said before, it doesn't matter which way that you go. You may like it coming up this way, or you may like your ruffle laying with the curl going down. So I'm just taking this. I don't really have a specific way I start to lay them down. I usually go down to the bottom and then move up to the top. Just kind of move them around, filling them in. I take the pipe cleaner and I'm going underneath. I want my pipe cleaner to come up at the top because I'm adding ribbon throughout the whole wreath. So there's your first one. Let's take a white. Lay this flat, and I think my white is actually a 10-inch, but it's okay. Going straight down the center, and I'm scrunching as I go. If you can see me, but I don't want to mess up the center. I'm scrunching as I go. I'm scrunching and gathering, and I'm started doing a little twist with my finger to make sure that I'm keeping the ruffle in a gather. So again, that's our ruffle. I'm gonna go right next to the one that I had before, and I'm gonna pull it up some. I'm going to the second from the top wire or bar, and I'm just gonna add the pipe cleaner through the bottom to the top, laying it flat on there, and I'm gonna give it a twist. No more than 2 twists. So what happens is it's kind of overlapping one another, and we got that going. I'll do a red one. So I cut 2 at a time, so that's why I'm having to pull them apart. Just trying to lay it flat so I can make sure that you're able to see exactly what I'm doing. Again, I'm finding my center, and I'm scrunching as I go. The biggest problem is that you start to lean more towards one side than the other, and then your ruffle doesn't look full or like a ruffle. And you may get the ends, if you didn't cut straight, some of your ends may end up flowing out a little more than the other, but it should be okay as you start to add them and overlap them. I'm going back to that second. I'm on this bar of the second one from the bottom. And again, I'm going underneath my wire. And you definitely could go ahead and add your pipe cleaners on your wreath, but I always find that a little harder because to get them to stay, you got to do a little twist. And when I get ready to use it, that means I have to untwist it. So why go through all of that? So I basically did 2 in each section. And now this red is starting into the next section. So as you can see, and I'm just gonna go around and add red, white, and blue throughout the entire wreath. The same way, just scrunching. Making sure I keep that straight. Again, my ruffle. I have the hardest time staying straight. when I cut anything. So it's almost better for me to think of a design that it's okay to be a little uneven. And if it's like this and it looks like it's overlapping, it's fine, because you're gonna go back and you're gonna fluff them out. You're gonna move them closer so that it looks like a nice full ruffle. So when I get done, once I get everything on there, I'm gonna kind of push them all together like so. And again, I'm going from the bottom of the second from the bottom up to the second from the top. So I'm alternating where I put them. You can go back once you sort of put those in. If you see that as the gap is not full enough, you could definitely go in, fill in some. So right now I'm at the top, and I'm just gonna go around, finish that up, and then I'll be ready to add all the ribbon to it. This one already scrunched, so I'll use it. Again, just going from the bottom. looks good so far. This one looks a little longer. It must have been the end of the roll. The one thing so this looks longer than 21 inches. I'm pretty sure it was. It's a lot thicker, a lot harder to handle. But the good thing is when you have a little one that's a little thicker, you get a better ruffle, like a fuller ruffle. So you can go a little longer on yours to make it fuller. Here I am playing with angles again. So I put the stand on to my table just to see if you could get a better view. Let me move this more that way. See. So I went on and I went around and I added the different ruffles, excuse me, all the way to the end. Once you do it, it's all mixed in together. You can see. And I just go through, I kind of fluff out my ruffle just to make sure it's still a ruffle. If you don't like, if you see one color is a little weaker than another one, you can go near that one and see, fluff out my ruffle some. I moved them all a little closer so they look a little flat. But you could go and add, like stack that one, add another, you know, the same color, or if you have a wreath where you want one color to stand out more than the other, then you can definitely go, open this up some. You could go in and add that color, double it up, just simply add, you know, one on top of the other, or you could find a spot inside of your wreath and add that color. So I'm just opening, you know, kind of moving some of mine around so I can make sure that I truly have that ruffle look. Remember, we are adding ribbon, and I am putting that sign in the center. So, okay. And then this sign is gonna go right smack dab in the center. I think I have it all backwards. So it'll go smack dab in the center right there. Once I finish it, let me just open it up more. So it'll go like that. All right, so maybe not the best angle, but we'll see. So I have a couple of different ribbons. I have the spread white, and well, this is like a what do you call this? A tan color, the burlap looking, with the red, white, and blue. And then I have this kind of plastic. This is more of a mesh ribbon. So all I'm gonna do is take some of the ribbon, and sometimes I cut. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't measure. I rarely measure ribbon. Only when I have a lot of ribbon to do, and I want to wrap it. Sometimes I take a old cardboard box and cut it to the length that I want, and I just wrap them around. But usually when I first start, I take my ribbon and I'm kind of just indenting where I think that the ribbon will go. I place it inside of you know, my wreath, if it's a ruffle, if it's whatever, and I want to see if it's gonna flow out. And that's sort of how I measure. This may, remember, you are cutting a tail on this, so this may be perfect length. Let's see. So we can do it in a couple of spots to make sure that it's gonna be long enough. And when I do that, all I do is, since I know that's folded there, I make sure that this is even right here. And this is how I know where to cut my ribbon. I'm always trying to think of a shortcut. So again, we could test that out again. I know that it's going, this is a little. So if I was to just kind of place that in there, I know that it's gonna fold out like that. So I know I have the perfect size. And if I wanna make sure by cutting my ends off, let's see. I didn't cut this even, but cutting my ends off and making sure. Your biggest goal, ribbon is expensive. you don't want to be wasteful with it. So you try to get it exactly. So I know this is the size that I want my ribbon throughout. So I'll just take that off. What I'll do now, I'm gonna move that to the side. I'll just cut all of my pieces off, and I'm trying to see if I have a piece of a board or something that I could just wrap it. Otherwise, I do this. I line them up and I just go down and I start cutting. Depending on how many pieces you need, that's how many you cut. I'm gonna take this one to the side. I'm probably gonna cut about 6 pieces of this. I do have 3 different ribbons, and then I'm adding a couple of flowers, the red, white, and blue flowers inside of it. So that's what, 4 or 5. So that was 5 of those. And then I'll do the same thing. I'm gonna do this right so I can make sure I'm not being wasteful, because that ribbon is a little bigger, so it may not. They're usually the same size. But I'll take this and I try to go into the deepest part again, and I'm making sure that it is going to be seen. No sense of putting ribbon in that you can't see. If it's too short, it makes no sense. So that's about the length that I want. And again, I'm folding that to see. I'm probably gonna go up just a little bit more. So this is about where I wanna cut that I know. Let's see if it's the same as my other ribbon. So pretty much the same length. So you could just take your ribbon, the one before, and cut. Of course, you could take something, measure it, and know exactly how, and it's probably easier just to keep pulling, you know, have your measurements down, keep pulling and cutting. I'm all kind of lengths, not straight at all. And I have one more ribbon. I don't know if I'm gonna use this because it's not a wire ribbon and this flops. I may have to go find another, unless I could figure out a cool little way to, you know, kind of make a curl with this. I know I read somewhere on how you stiffen one without a wire, but offhand I can't remember, so we'll leave this off for right now. I may have to see if I can find another one. So now I am just going in. If you want, you could take the 2. I'm probably gonna put some of the larger ribbon just around by itself, and let's go back and cut my little, are they swan tails? What are they called? Ducktails, swan tails, dovetails. I'll just line all of them up. And Same thing with the bottom half of them. Line them up and cut. You should use your best scissors when you're doing that. I have about, I don't know, maybe 20 pair, just because I have some here at the studio, and I could never find them. So whichever pair I could grab, I start with them. If they're not doing well, then I'll just try to go find another pair, but I could never find scissors. My really good pair that I have to cut ribbon, I dull them out because there again, I'm just grabbing them and using them for whatever. So I'm doubling the 2 ribbons up, and I'm just going to squish. I'm gonna pinch the middle part, trying to make sure that they're even. You can see, I wanna make sure that they're even, and I'm gonna just put them in. I do need to be mindful that I am putting a sign in the center. I am big on not wasting ribbon or putting ribbon where it's not gonna be seen. So if the sign is gonna lap it, I'm gonna move that ribbon if I start putting ribbon in, unless I can get it to hang from underneath it to show, because it makes no sense. Ribbon is really expensive. It makes no sense whatsoever to have ribbon throughout the center of it and you can't see it. So now I'm just gonna pull them apart. And that's on one of the inside ones, so I can double check to see. So that should be fine. It would show. Again, I'm just taking my 2. Making sure they're even. And I'm just gonna go out throughout the wreath and add, land it flat inside of there. Taking the pipe cleaner that's already in there. I'm giving it a twist. And I'm pulling them apart. Again, we want to just make sure it's even. I'm finding a space, and I'm usually kind of going up and down, you know, towards the center, towards the end part, and place my ribbon. So it's almost like I'm going every other pipe cleaner that's already down. And when I spread out my ribbon, this one is really close to that. So I will try to make sure that the ribbon that's the other ribbon is showing versus the one that's close to it. So I won't put the stripes next to each other. I tried to make sure what other ribbon is showing next to it. And when I pull it apart, I'm just spreading them open. And I might have tied this too tight, too tight before spreading it. That's all. Look like I cut some of the red, white, and blue, the mesh one, a little shorter than the actual ribbon. I really like this other one. This other red, white, and blue. But I don't think I'm gonna get it to work without it just flopping down. So my ruffles right here are like really pushed together. When I hang it up, I'll see if I need to move them around or kind of cut this ribbon a little down. I don't want the ruffle to disappear. So I need to make sure the ruffle is actually showing. And this ribbon, I don't know how, but it looks like it's like too long. But that's okay. We could just go in and cut it down some. I think I got lazy and just started cutting and wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. So what I told you about being wasteful with ribbon, here I am doing it because that probably needs to be cut down. So that one and this one. So I'll cut it just a little bit down and watch. I'm gonna get to the end and need one more piece. And the parts where I was wasteful could have been that one more piece. And it's not much, I don't want it to overtake the ruffles. Okay. Maybe a few more pieces. Right, I'm loving it, I'm liking it. What I'm probably gonna do is add a couple of the red, white, and blue pieces right along the edges. I need to cut off, I don't know, maybe one more right here of the ones with the heart. Put it down here somewhere. The bad thing, because, well, it's President's Day coming up. So you would think that some of the stores will have some of these out, you know, some ribbon that represents the American flag or anything like that. But I haven't found any. So I may run to Michael's or Hobby Lobby, maybe even Party City, and see if anyone has any ribbon that has the flag on it or has red, white, and blue. I feel like I need another ribbon in here. I think I want to put it up here. Nope, I'm gonna come down here. Okay. I think I'm gonna add a few more of these throughout. I'm almost thinking my ribbon is too long, but we'll see. I hate to go and cut all of them down. I'll see once I finish, because as I said, I'm adding some red, white, and blue flowers. I think they're like pansies almost, and then I'm adding some stars. This was extremely wasteful right here. I just cut and wasn't looking. So I put these along the bottom because I just want them to hang out some along the bottom of it. So these can be a little shorter. I just want it to be seen. And I'm only adding a few of them. just gonna find a couple of little spots to throw these along the edges. I think it'll compensate if I don't find another ribbon to throw in here. I did the big mistake. I started cutting the wrong way. This is pretty full up in here. So if I make sure, let's look at it. If my heart is going in here, I think I have enough ribbon all the way around. Just that, maybe a piece over here. That's showing pretty well. All right, it's looking nice and full. Let me grab my flowers and find the little stars that I need to add to this. I hung this on the wall and I was looking at it, and I decided that my ribbons were too long. So I went and I cut some of them down just a little bit, probably an inch, a half an inch or so. It just made it look better to me. I finished up the little sign that I made. Here it is. So it just says, God bless America. And I tried my best to put stars in there. So that's it. I went along, I had some of my flowers and I cut those out for you. I am going to sit this aside just for a second to show you how, oops. So usually when I have a sign, depending on the thickness of the wood, this one I bought from the Dollar Tree, one of their just plain heart shapes. So it's pretty thin. And sometimes when I have signs, if they're thick enough, I use my staple gun and staple the pipe cleaners on here. But this one is pretty thin. So I use these mounting, the mounting base. They're cable tie mounting base. And you could get them from any hardware store. I got these probably from Menards. And they came in, what is this? There's about 100 of them in here. So what I'll do is go ahead. They have the little sticky things on the back. Take these off and just place them in different positions on the back of the sign. So I'm gonna put one on closer to the side so I can hide it. Hide the pipe cleaner or whatever I use to attach it. So I put one on the bottom and the top. And I then will take my glue gun just to make sure it's strong and it's, you know, as it ships or you move it around on your door, that it stays on. I just put a little glue. Let's see, I just turned this on, so see, just put a little glue around the edges to give it a little extra support. Look like I need some more glue. Can't find my glue sticks, so I do have some E6000, and I'm just gonna put a little bit around. I have a big bag of glue sticks. I don't know what I did with them. So just a little bit around it for a little extra security. Or I could come back. I need to clean up. So I have a studio, and I host parties, paint parties, and craft parties, teach a couple classes. And Friday, I did a glow party for my son, and I had to pretty much move everything. And so what probably happened was that I was trying to move stuff really fast to make sure that they had plenty of space, and threw it in one of my mini bags, and now I can't find it. So, all right, that should be good. If not, before I ship it out, I'll make sure that I go over it with a glue stick, or with some hot glue or something. So after I do that and that dries, I'm just putting some pipe cleaners through. They come with the little holes, and you can either, if you can see that, you could do the hose this way or that way. Got paint all over my hand, I was painting. So I go along and put these in there. I usually don't cut them because I don't want the signs to be mashed in the center. I want it to still sit up. So I need it to be long enough that it actually reaches it. So it'll just be like that, and we'll put it in. I'm gonna set this to the side for a second. So now I'll just take a couple of my flowers and just kind of put them in here. If you could put them where a pipe cleaner is, if your stem isn't long enough, you didn't cut long enough, put it in there so that you could wrap it around. So the stems are long enough. So what I'm doing is pushing it through. If you could see, can you see that this is the stem that's coming through? And I'm just going to wrap it around the frame, if I could bend it. If it's not long enough and you can't get it to attach to the frame, or with one of the pipe cleaners you already have, then you could take a piece of wire. So a piece of wire and wrap it around, put a dab of glue on there. Hurt myself. I don't know why I'm trying to use this, but okay, it's coming out. So maybe it wasn't hot enough. Just put a little dab of glue on there to make sure it's on. So I put a couple of little flowers, the blue. I'm trying to put the blue where it's white or red so you can really see it. If you like, and it has, and you're able to take the pipe cleaner in between. This might need a little dab of glue. To make sure it stays on. If you have a flower that is open like that, you can take the pipe cleaner that's in there, go in between it, because we have to hide these pipe cleaners anyway. So go in between and tie it down into that center. I didn't have red flowers that match this exactly, so this should be okay. Just adding some of these in here. This stem isn't long enough, so I'm gonna try to take the pipe cleaner through it and hold it in there. If you like, you can glue it in, glue it down. When I first started, I used to glue a lot of my flowers in. Some of them are still there, like the ones that I didn't sell or I just did just to show. The flowers are still glued on there, but I tried to up my game a little bit and started to attach them better. So I'm just finding places that I can take the flower. If I could push it through, I'm attaching it to the back of the frame by wrapping it around. Look like I lost my stem. And anytime you have that problem that the flowers are coming off of the stem or off the end of the stem, just add a dab of glue to make sure that it's gonna stay there. I'm trying to not make the flowers go towards the center because the sign will be there. Let me grab a couple of red. So I had this little red flower. I'm just gonna cut off a couple of pieces. It has a little sparkle to it, some little glitter on there. I think I got it in the grab box from Michael's. I try to avoid at all costs trying to use the glue gun to attach my flowers, but sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have a flower that don't have a stem long enough and you might want it in a place that is almost impossible to use a pipe cleaner or some wire. So adding a little glue to it is not a problem. And your biggest thing, you don't want it to fall. You don't want it to come off. That's the worst thing. Someone gets their order in the mail and all of their flowers are off. And anywhere where you attach the pipe cleaner, just to make sure that it's not going anywhere, just add just a little dab of glue around it. I'm dabbing right at the pipe cleaner and the stem. I'll do it on this one too. I think that's attached in the back. This one is attached at the stem. Same thing, that's in the back. So I don't really have a method of where I put it. I'm just filling in the spaces. Let me see where my sign was set. Probably want one coming up. Let me stand up so I can see. Maybe I have to add a little more red. I think that's good. I still need to add some stars. Put this flower up here. So for the sign, if you have a Cricut, it's easy just to get, you know, a piece of wood or something, and you can use your Cricut, use the permanent vinyl. Use the permanent vinyl and create some signs. I don't do it often enough. I need to save some money, but it's easy. It's really easy to do. A lot of times I do it when I'm in a pinch. Like I think I had someone that wanted a religious, something religious on there, and I could not find it at Hobby Lobby. Normally I see this all the time. I think it was Walk by Faith, Not by Sight, and I could not find it. And so I ended up making it with my Cricut. It's well worth the money. If you sell any of your items that you make with your Cricut, so it's about $200 for the Cricut Air. If you get into selling t-shirts, easily selling them for $20 or whatever, you could make your money back pretty fast. Oops, put it off. My only dilemma with this is now, where do I find the hearts? It's February. Oh, well, I don't know if I'm able to find blue, but I probably could find some red and white hearts somewhere. But I don't know about finding the blue at the Dollar Tree or something. Some little hearts just to kind of stick on here. Okay, so we got these flowers in. Let's make them hang different ways so they look throughout. And then I'm taking a sign. Let this dry a little bit. Let's see if my glue gun is working or not. So that should be on there pretty tight. So all I do is take, probably need to stand up some. Find the center of my wreath. And I'm taking the pipe cleaner. I'm finding a bar. Probably the first bar in there, and I'm just attaching the pipe cleaner to it. If you can see, just went through. I don't tie it tight right away because I need to make sure I'm not going in too far. Because nothing's worse than having your sign like this. Actually, that doesn't look bad, right? But sometimes, every time I tell you don't do something, it proves me wrong. But you want it to look like it's sitting on, I'm trying to find the bottom, on the wreath, not off the wreath, but on it, attached well. So I'm pull that in just a little bit. So now I have the top of it pretty secure, and I'm gonna add the one on the bottom. Make sure I'm not crooked. That way when it swings on the door or somewhere, it's not flopping off. All right, hopefully I'm straight in the middle. So I'm tying this down in the back. So it's on there, see? Fix up my ribbon. I like this flower kind of hitting that. So I'm gonna bend it a little bit so that it can kind of hit the bottom of the sign. Trim, trim, trim. I don't like this sticking out, so I am gonna cut this down a little bit. Fluff it all out. Because I use the red pipe cleaners, it's perfectly fine if they show anywhere. I don't like it having this big of a gap and you can see the pipe cleaner. So I would either roll them down or I would take them, go in the back. But we have so much stuff on here. It might be hard to find that back. But you can simply take something, a pencil or just your fingers, and roll it down closer to the middle of the ribbon. I am taking it to the back and I'm tightening it. I just simply went to the back of it and I'm tightening it up. Then you'll go and attach it to the frame so it's not sticking out. So I'll go in and inspect to see if I have you know, like a lot of the pipe cleaners really showing through there, and it's not really. And again, if you use the colors of the wreath, it's perfectly fine. Some people don't want them showing. Some people, you know, it's part of the decor, especially when you do the Christmas wreaths and things like that. People tend to use the pipe cleaner as part of that decor. It's, with the evergreen pipe cleaners or the attachments, the wreaths that already have them on there. People use them and show them off. When I make wreaths like this, I do not put anything on the back. I just make sure that it looks nice and neat. This is perfectly fine. It shouldn't scar anyone's door. I make sure that my pipe cleaners are securely around the frame. When I have one that I've done different colors, or it's a lot of pipe cleaners on there, that's when I will take some felt or something and put it on the back. Or if I have, you know, maybe a lot of the stems are sticking out, then I try to cover it up. No glue. I have to go back and fix that. So I'm just tightening up the back. So there we go. It's a couple of stems that's kind of sticking out, well, that I wrapped around, but it's not a bad looking wreath from the back either. So I don't think that there's a need to cover this up. Also, because this does have a sign in the center, it's fine to cover it up. And then you just attach whatever you're gonna use to hang this. If you have an opening, then you have to cut it completely around the ring and the opening, so it will show through. I mean, so it won't just sit on the front. But here we have it. I am going to try to run to the Dollar Tree and see if I can get, I'm going to fluff it out some. See if I can get some hearts, or stars, I'm sorry. Some stars. It wasn't hearts. Did I say hearts? Some stars or something that I can use to put in here throughout the wreath. But it came out pretty good. Even my little sign I made, I might need to do something to cover up the little holes up there, but I think it's fine. Thank you all for watching. Any questions, comments? And I was told again, I have to say like and subscribe. No. Thank you. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.